welcome to Furious Books. Today we are going to be going over some books that I am hoping to unhaul. I have a pretty large book collection, as you can probably see from everything behind me, and that's not even all of them, but we'll save that for another video. Today I want to go over some books that I am going to be removing from my collection, getting rid of them, unhauling them. If you're not familiar with an unhaul, it's basically the reverse of a book haul. There's a multitude of reasons why I am unhauling these books, and I will explain it as I go. I do actually have a lot of books to talk about today, and I'm determined to try to keep things brief. I'm gonna try to go pretty fast because I'm worried that I'm gonna ramble on about every single thing, which is what I normally do. And I'd like to keep this one a little bit on the shorter side. So we have three main categories of books that we're going to be talking about today. We've got books that I have read, books that I have not yet read, and books that I'm still unsure about. So I'm not sure if I want to get rid of them or not. I'll be accepting your opinions in the comments down below. If you think that I should get rid of these books, or if one of those is your favorite book and you think that I should read it, let me know, because I'm easily influenced when it comes to this sort of thing. And if one person is like, no, that's my favorite book, I want you to read it, then I will. Let's do books that I have not yet read first, because I have less to say about those. First of all, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This book has been on my shelf for quite a long time. I'm a really big fan of Six of Crows. As of right now, I don't see myself picking it up very soon. I have heard a lot of things about it from people who I really trust and generally share opinions with. So I'm not feeling the vibes on this one lately, and I'm just more of a paperbacks person. If I'm gonna read this, I'll most likely get it from the library, and then if I end up really loving it, I might buy the paperback. I'm not keeping this one around. We'll say that. Next book I haven't read is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I really do want to read this series. I've heard really good things about it. I hope that this cover doesn't look horrifically shiny. I actually already own this on my e-reader. I got it for like 2 cents. I would rather collect this series if I do end up really liking the first book. I'd rather collect it on my e-reader than the physical hardcover copies, because then I'll have to have a lot of hardcover books on my shelf, even though these are really beautiful. I love the cover. This is another book that I originally got used, and it's not in great condition. It's just a little water damaged again. I just don't feel super duper comfortable having significantly water damaged books on my shelf, especially if it wasn't damaged by me. Like, if I spill my coffee on a book, then that's my business. But if I buy a book not realizing that it has someone else's unidentified liquid, this is a book I've also had for a very long time. Like, I think I may have gotten this off Thrift Books in like 2017. When it comes down to it, I do want to read this, but I don't want to read this specific copy. Next up, we have Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. This is another series. It's another series. There are a ton of books in this series. Again, if I end up loving it, I'm gonna have to collect a ton of these books. Also, my mom is a fan of this series and she owns all of them. So if I really, really want to read them, I can just borrow them from my mom. I know she would be more than happy to let me borrow them. I'm not feeling super beat up about letting this one go, and it does clear up a decent amount of space on my shelf. So, Outlander, I'm sorry, but it's time to leave. Next is Out of Oz by Gregory Maguire. This is the final volume in the Wicked book series that the play and I guess also the movie are based off of. I'm a huge fan of Wicked. I love the play so much, but I've never read the books, and I collected this before I realized that it was the fourth in a series. I really do love this cover, and this book is deliciously floppy. I love a floppy book. Realistically, I'm gonna have to read 3 books before I get to this one, and with the number of series that I'm already reading and already partially in the middle of, I know that it's at least gonna be a few years before I get to this book. I'm not that committed to reading the Wicked series. I'm so in love with the musical. I don't want to risk the disappointment of not also loving the book series. I've heard that they're really, really different, so I'm just not feeling super confident about reading this series right now. So that is why this one will be leaving my collection. It's just not the right time, and I'm saying goodbye. The last one for this category is Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo Moyes. This is a book that I got from Book of the Month, February 2023, so almost exactly 2 years ago now. I still feel weird that 2023 was 2 years ago, but this is the book that I picked for February that month, non-sponsored, of course. I'm not really interested in reading this book anymore. This is the kind of book that I would probably rather get from the library, and I have a lot of other Book of the Month books that I have gotten but haven't read, and this is pretty much like the bottom of the list in Book of the Month backlog that I'm excited to read. I think this book is about a person who like loses her gym bag and then some other lady ends up with it and then they meet because of that and become friends. I'm pretty sure that's what this is about. It's mostly just like, when I see this on my shelf, I don't feel excited to read it. I'm just kind of like, eh. And why would I keep a book like that around, you know? So yes, goodbye. Okay, next up, we've got some books that I have read. Let's get into those. I've got a lot of different reasons for all of these books. And I'm gonna try not to get too spicy, but I guess we'll see what happens. First up, we've got And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I read this book a long time ago. I really actually did like it. I've read quite a few Agatha Christie books. I just don't love this edition. I don't really like this cover, and it's also it's another book that I got used for less than $4. She doesn't look great. I don't know. I just don't feel like I really need this book anymore. That's kind of just what it really comes down to. Actually, here's another one. I've got Agatha Christie, The Body in the Library. This is one of the Miss Marple books. I think it might be the third Miss Marple book. Yeah, I liked this. It was good. I really do like Agatha Christie. I don't feel the need to own this specific copy. I don't think I'm gonna reread this anytime soon. I just didn't feel super strongly about this. Like, I liked it, but I don't know. It's also one of those mass market paperbacks. I just don't really like mass market paperbacks very much. Speaking of mass market paperbacks, the next book I have to talk about is this copy of Les Mis by Victor Hugo. If you've seen any of my other videos, you probably know that I'm on this reading journey with Les Mis, where in 2023 I set out to try to finish a bunch of books before the end of the year. Les Mis was one of those books, and now in 2025 I'm still trying to finish it. To be fair, I started it in 2024, so it hasn't been a full 2 years of reading it, but I originally started out reading this copy that I got used, but I learned a little bit too late that there are multiple different translations of Les Mis. It can really make a difference in what reading experience you have, depending on which translation you have. I wound up going with a different translation. It's the Penguin Classics edition, and that one has been a lot more enjoyable for me to read so far. Yeah, so I'm still reading this book. I'm just going to be unhauling this copy because there's no real reason for me to be hanging on to this. This is the copy that is known as the brick amongst literary folks because it is basically the size and shape of a brick. Next up is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. Now this is a book that I love. In fact, I think I talked about this as one of my new favorite books in a video I did back in the fall of last year. I still love it. I love it so much, but for the holidays I was gifted a special edition of this book. I am really not a fan of the shiny, flashy material of book covers, and this new edition has a matte finish. It's very beautiful. I no longer need this edition. It's nice, it's green. I don't need it because I have a different copy. Next, we have Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk by Kathleen Rooney. I have nothing against this book. I read it last year. I don't know if I just read this at like the wrong time in my life or if I just wasn't in the mood at the time. Either way, it just didn't really sit with me, or it didn't really stick with me, I guess is what I should say. I didn't dislike it, I just felt like nothing about it. This book gave me no feelings. It was nice to read a book from an older protagonist. This book is basically it's based on a real person, and it's basically about this woman who worked her way up in the advertising industry in New York in like the 1930s, I want to say. It goes back and forth between New Year's Eve on 1984, and then it jumps to different times in Lillian's past, and it is really interesting, and I really thought I was gonna love it, but it just didn't stick with me at all. Because of that, I am unhauling. So I hope that somebody else ends up getting it and really loves it, because I think this has a lot of potential to be the sort of book that someone could really, really love, but unfortunately, it was not that for me. Next up are a couple books that I have actually mentioned in videos, so I'm gonna attempt to keep it short. Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. This book is a thriller. The main thing that I'd heard about this thriller was that it had like an absolutely bonkers, bananas, nutty twist at the end. Like you could never see it coming. And that's the main reason why I really wanted to read this book. What it really wound up being was my absolute biggest pet peeve in any thriller, which is that the twist at the end, you could never have seen it coming, but it wasn't because it was such a super out there twist. It was really just because they didn't give you enough information to be able to put the pieces together. So it's not that it was a unique twist, it was just that you were being blindsided the entire time. It was just like out of nowhere. It's like when a book suddenly changes genre. You think it's a contemporary book, and then suddenly it's like, oh no, this book is paranormal, and you're like, excuse me? It sort of villainizes mental illness in a way that I really didn't like. It made me super uncomfortable. The only reason why I really even held on to this that long is because I knew I was gonna film an unhaul video at some point. So this is this moment. Maybe someone else will like this. I don't actually really recommend it personally. So yeah. Next up, we have Murder in the Family by Kara Hunter. This book was just a little bit cringy to me. I thought that the dialogue was not realistic. It was very cheesy. And I think sometimes, you know, I can enjoy some cheese. I like a cheesy book here and there, but this just didn't really work for me. It's a mystery thriller that is written through a transcript to a true crime TV show. And I was so intrigued. Part of the reason why I didn't like this book is just that I was so disappointed by it. I really had high hopes, and it was not at all what I expected it to be. I definitely think this is more of a mystery than a thriller. It is not very thrilling. If you want to hear me talk about this in depth, you can watch my most recent reading vlog where I attempted to read for 24 hours. Okay, this is the last book that I have actually read from this stack. And that is White Fang by Jack London. I didn't like it. I felt that it was very outdated and that the very well-written nature descriptions did not make up for the fact that this book has a lot of white supremacy and racism, despite being told from the perspective of a wolf who realistically should have no concept of these things. I rant about this a lot in a recent video. But this book enraged me. I was also very disappointed because I really like wolves and I thought I would like it. It's just not for me. But just because it's a classic doesn't mean I had to like it, and I did not like it. The end. Okay, next we have some books that I am not sure about. Every time I look at my shelf and I'm like, what should I read next? I know it's not gonna be one of these books, but I still keep them there, and I'm not sure if I want to read them. Some of these were impulse buys. I do love to go thrifting for books. There's been a lot of times where I've seen a book and been like, oh, I've seen that before, and then I buy it, which I'm trying to get better about doing that because I've seen a lot of books. I've heard about a lot of books. If I was to buy every book that I'd seen or heard about, well, it would not be good. Let's just say that. Maybe I'll get them from the library. I want to ask your opinion on these. If you've read any of these and you really liked them, or maybe you think I'd like them, or if you really hated one of these books, please let me know, because I will take your opinion into account. All right, we've got Roald Dahl's Book of Ghost Stories. I got this from a Goodwill because, one, I really liked the cover, and two, Matilda was one of my favorite books as a child. But something that I didn't realize is that this is not a book of ghost stories written by Roald Dahl. This is a collection of ghost stories from multiple different authors that I believe Roald Dahl edited and put together. I love a good ghost story. I'm sure I would still enjoy reading these ghost stories, but it's just not what I expected it to be when I bought it. I also bought it because This is a little silly, but when I picked it up and flipped it open, a bookmark fell out of it, and it's a bookmark for this random little bookstore at the beach that we go to pretty frequently in the summer. I kind of like took it as a sign that I should buy the book, but I feel like maybe that's not the best reason to buy a book, so I'm undecided, and I want to read it, but it's just not what I thought it was when I bought it, so let me know what you think. And then we also have Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. I have never read a Chuck Palahniuk book. I'm pretty sure this book it's a novel, but it's made up of a bunch of connected short stories. I don't know much about Chuck Palahniuk, honestly. I've kind of heard that he's like one of those red flag authors where like if you are a big Chuck Palahniuk fan, that's a red flag. So I kind of feel like if I've never read one, maybe I shouldn't start. You know, I still kind of want to read it, but I just don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. I'm unsure. I'm fully unsure. Next up is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. This is one of those books where if you go to a thrift store or a Goodwill or most likely your local used bookstore, there are at least 5 to 10 copies of this book. It's a good example of a book that I picked up because I recognized it. And honestly, like, I still think that this could be fun to read, but I don't know if it's going to be so groundbreaking to me that I need to own a copy. I kind of feel like maybe I shouldn't have impulse bought it just because I saw that there were a lot on the shelf. I don't really know very much about this. On the back it says it tackles issues of power, corruption, justice, and innocence, which sounds really cool. Like, that sounds interesting. It's a political and journalistic thriller that is also intimate and moral. Like, that sounds really neat. But I just don't know. I feel like I'm getting really repetitive with this. Yeah, if you've read this and you really liked it, please let me know. I would love to feel any inspiration to actually read it. Okay, this is the last book, and I saved it for last for a reason. But that is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This book, oh my god. When I first read this book, I was so frustrated that I wrote essentially an essay on why I did not like it. This book is marketed as being basically a young adult fantasy version of The Mummy, the movie from 1999 starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. The Mummy movie is one of my all-time favorite movies. When I was a kid, it was one of the movies I would watch on repeat. I saw it again when it was re-released in theaters a year ago. I love that movie so much. This book is nothing like The Mummy, aside from the part that they both take place in Egypt. I'm not the person to tell you the plot of this book because I don't even know what it was. I've seen so many glowing reviews for this book, and I'm so happy for those people. If anything, I wish I could like this book, because on paper, it was everything that I normally enjoy, and it fell so unbelievably flat for me. I thought that the main character was super obnoxious. She's not smart. She's not fun to read from. She's very repetitive. She kind of thinks the same thoughts over and over again. The ending of this book was terrible, in my opinion. The love interest, I know he's supposed to be like Rick O'Connell, and he's nothing like Rick O'Connell. Rick O'Connell would never do half the stuff that this man does. Like, part of me thinks that these two characters deserve each other because I don't like either of them. The other part of me is like, Inez. Main character's name is Inez, by the way. Get out of there. Like, what are you doing? She consistently makes the worst decisions ever. She consistently puts herself in danger. I was rooting for her uncle in this book, who's the character that's trying to get her to stop doing stupid shit. This man is the only person in this book with some common sense. It's also supposed to be fantasy, and there was no fantasy. There's this whole magic system with magical objects, which is super interesting, but it's not utilized at all. Do I want to get rid of it? Because I just felt like I kind of loved to hate it, but am I ever going to read it again? No. The end. Yes, those are all the books I'm going to be unhauling today. I hope you enjoyed listening to me rant and ramble on about these books. Thanks for hanging out with me. Don't forget to like or subscribe, and please leave me a comment if you have any opinions about these books, because I'd really love to hear them. I also just want to reiterate again, I love that we can have different opinions, and if you love one of these, then I'm so happy for you. I wish I could join you. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I really hope you have an amazing day. Even if it's out of spite, don't forget to hydrate. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.